Hello everyone, Splock here, and this is 1907 of the game Crowds in 2020. So this is a crucial year because I have decided, at least for a year now, that I'm going to stab France this turn. It's the only way to basically get closer to a win if I don't want to continue working with France against Spain. And I think with my enlisting of Austria's help to attack Spain from the south, I have ensured Spain even without France's help, and France's territories are in my list of territories I need to sow. So it's time. This is the most optimal year to stab France, in my opinion. Of course, this requires that France continues to trust me, that he doesn't ally with any other player, and that he doesn't realize that I'm going to stab him, because the element of surprise is going to be vital on my stab, because he can basically protect himself from the stab if he sees it coming. So first of all, I talked with Austria in the spring of 1907, and we discussed working together. Austria is my first Janissary that actually gains me something this year, because he got into Tunis, and by doing that he forced Spain to disband Burgundy, and also from Tunis he can move to Western Mediterranean and help me get the three Spanish centers, Spain, Portugal and Marseille, because I'm calculating that whenever one of those center falls, the other two will follow, and then I can take the win. Of course, Munich is another point of contention, but I think that I can manage to take it, but it's all very uncertain and difficult to calculate for me. And I talk about my plans for the future with Austria. I say, if I manage to win, I will let you survive. And if I don't manage to win, I will include you into the draw. That last promise may or may not have been a lie. Depends on the board, of course, but my plan is to win, or if I am forced into a draw, to restrict the draw as much as possible. So that's with my conversation with Austria. Austria pointed out that we're really far and we can't really cooperate for now, and that's not a really accurate assessment, because actually with this fleet in Tunis is close enough to me to cooperate and help me win this game. It just needs to go to Western Mediterranean, and that's it. The army in Serbia is going to be destroyed. I totally predict that Tunis will be the last center in which Austria survives, if he survives this game, thanks to my win. I just need him to get a little bit closer, just one move into Western Mediterranean, and then it's done. While on the French front, I talked with France and I suggested to attack Spain. He actually offered Spain to me and offered support from Mid-Atlantic Ocean to Spain, and I actually said no, let's support you from Gascony to Spain. This is to lure him away from Brest, which he could protect in my stab if he had a fleet in Gascony. Of course, I don't think this move will work. I think that Spain is going to protect himself into Spain, or at least cut support into Mid-Atlantic Ocean. So I don't think that move will be efficient, but it's the move I have to propose to France to keep him trusting. At the same time, I propose to move Paris to Burgundy. That's a good move if we are intending to move against Spain in Marseille, but also allows that army to go further from Brest and not be able to protect it in the fall, because Brest is one of the centers that I want to take from France. And I said that I would support hold Berlin. That's a kind move that also keeps trust. And it said rightly that I should try to get an army in Kiel to continue the attack in the German territories, and I agree. But not in the way he sees it. I said, yeah, that army in Edinburgh is going to Kiel, and that means that I was ambiguous on purpose, because Edinburgh could be convoyed to Holland or to Denmark and then go to Kiel. Of course, I'm going to convoy Edinburgh to Holland, because my action plan this year is to attack Ruhr. with Belgium and Holland. France afterwards said that Belgium should definitely move to Holland, so it was intending for Belgium to go to Holland and Edinburgh to go to Denmark. And in this way, yeah, I wouldn't be really threatening to his centers, especially Ruhr, and he would have my help in the way he sees it. And I said, yeah, an army is going to Holland. I was ambiguous on purpose again to mislead France and not let him understand that I was positioning to take Brest, Ruhr, and Berlin. The only center I couldn't take this year from France was Paris, but after I take these three and France remains with one center, that center will be very easy to take and not really threatening to me. There is another point, which is the Russian front. Russia did bring two armies, and this means my attack on Berlin is planned like this. Basically, I want to attack with this army in Finland because I realized that I can't in any way take Moscow in the future. Russia is able to stalemate me in this area, so basically I want to go Livonia to Baltic Sea, and then in the autumn I want to convoy Finland through two navies to Berlin, with support from Kiev, while France doesn't expect it. This means that St. Petersburg will not be protected in fall 1907 by a support, because the only fleet or the only unit that will be able to protect St. Petersburg in subsequent turns will be the fleet in Gulf of Bothnia, but in the fall this fleet will be occupied convoying. So I need Russia not to have Livonia in fall, because if he has Livonia, I can't use Gulf of Bothnia to convoy because I need to support St. Petersburg, because he has two that can attack St. Petersburg. This means that in this turn I have to attack Livonia with a force of 2, so even if Russia uses Moscow and Warsaw to attack Livonia with a force of 2, we bounce, and then I can convoy Finland to Berlin. If I actually get into Livonia, it's no problem because this fleet is going to Baltic Sea, and then I can attack Berlin from Livonia with the army that will be there. So basically my move here is going Finland to Livonia, convoyed by Gulf of Bothnia and supported by St. Petersburg. And that's a preemptive move to attack then France, even though it doesn't seem like it, and France could interpret it as a hostile move towards Russia. Yeah, so basically that's my plan. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, so that totally worked. As you can see, Russia did try to attack Livonia with 2, and I prevented him from doing so while positioning myself perfectly to get into Berlin. I got into Holland, and we'll see if France suspects something from this. And the move against Spain didn't work. While Austria gets into Western Med, but Italy gets into Ionian Sea, and that's a problem. But because Tunis is now in danger, and Spain curiously moved to Gulf of Lyon, probably trying to escape his fate and get into some Italian centers like Rome to try to survive there. I don't know. In this year, a player which contacted me was Russia, and Russia basically asked why I was insisting fighting him. He said he was capable of forming a stalemate line and stalemating me in Moscow. I wasn't gonna get in Moscow anyway, so why fight? And I said that this move was the last hostile move he would see from me in the whole game, and that's completely true. I just didn't want him to get into Livonia, and that's also true. I didn't explain why to Russia because my stab of France must remain completely secret to the rest of the world. But because leaks could get into France, who could easily defend himself if he knows about it. And Russia said, okay, but why don't you want me to get into Livonia? Oh, well, let's just DMZ it. And then he changed his mind and asked for a double bounce in Livonia. So basically, Warsaw goes to Livonia with support, and I go to Livonia with Finland with support, just like this. And they said, no, if you want to move to Livonia, fine. If you choose to respect the DMZ, fine as well. And that's all fine and dandy, because if he goes to Livonia, it's no problem for me. After this turn, Gufo will be free to support St. Petersburg forever, so that's not a problem. So basically that's on the Russian front, and now we have some interesting developments on the Spanish fronts. Spain, after a year of silence from me, because as I said in the last video, I gave up on talking to Spain because he really isn't interested in discussing the game with me, and we don't have anything else to talk about because we're enemies, and he will be the last player I will have to destroy to claim the solo. Actually, he contacted me with pretty heavy accusation. He said I'm and I quote, fracking liar, and that's true. He quoted my my sentence in which I said that I wouldn't attack him, but I actually supported twice Gascony into Spain, and he called me Gollum, and that's what inspired this. It's not a meme, but in his vision of this game, I am Gollum, so it must be Samwise Gamgee warning Frodo of my treachery. But even though it's kind of true, the depiction of the game, I am definitely Gollum in this trio. I don't think he ever warned France of my treachery that was incoming, and that's the Spanish downfall, more or less, because he was ready to harass me with his words, but he wasn't ready to use those same words to convince other players to join him against me, and that's his downfall. He also said that a support like this is basically an attack, and he compared with an example. This movie said basically a getaway driver is still committing a robbery, and even though this doesn't make sense, I made this image. It is really a meme out of the Dark Knight movie in which Spain and France discuss, and then I come with the bus, and basically I put them both under my bus. So it's not really accurate movie-wise, because in this movie it's actually the bus driver and the Spanish clown in this case that get killed by France, but I thought it fit well with this example that Spain gave me, in which I'm the bus driver, or at least I am the getaway driver in a robbery. So yeah. Okay, so basically after that I was a little too harsh on Spain. Now I laugh about it, but at that time I took it really seriously, because having a mortal enemy in a game is bad, because he could actually convince Italy and France to join him against me, and I really didn't want it, because I knew that if the three of them now joined forces just before I was going to make my major stab against France, I couldn't win this game, so I said I wasn't interested in talking with him. He said I'm a liar, and I said we don't see the game in the same way, and some sort of criticism on my part that basically meant I don't really need to talk to you. I wasn't talking to you for over a year, so why now you're saying to me shut up, because that's what he was saying to me, basically shut up after a year or more of silence. But I was a little too harsh towards Spain, and that will continue. Stay tuned. But for now, that's it on the Spanish front. On the French front, very important developments, even though this move to Holland is the only suspicious move from me, because Livonia to Baltic Sea and this move to Livonia is pretty well disguised. Of course, France could see the stab, but I don't know. But here's the move that worries me the most. Berlin support held Munich in the spring. Why did Berlin, which was always supporting an attack from Ruhr to Munich, why did Berlin support Munich now? Are they allied? Have they reached an agreement? Because my stab is this. I want to take Brest with the Mid-Atlantic Ocean. I want to attack Berlin from Finland with support from Kiev, and I want to attack Ruhr with Belgium and Holland. And as you can see, every single move can be prevented. He can move Gascony to Brest to prevent this. He can ask Italy for support in Berlin, and or maybe he can cut Kiev. and he can get support into a lure from Italy or from himself. So basically he can stop all three of my moves. So I have to put up a real plan with France that seems realistic, and the plan is this: Gascony goes again to Spain with my support, and Burgundy either attacks Munich with two supports or taps Marseille. Um, Seeing the moves that were employed by Spain to defend Spain last turn, cutting Marseille is a good move to get into Spain. Of course, Spain could use other moves to defend Spain now, so that's not really the case, but it's credible enough. And attacking Munich with 3 is even better because Munich cannot be defended against an attack from 3 units. So France has an incentive to do that, and France has attacked Munich multiple times now. And if France actually attacks Munich from Burgundy, it's great because that cuts any support that Italy could give to Ruhr or Berlin. At least Ruhr, Berlin could be supported by Saint-Liger, but that's not really probable because Saint-Liger is most likely supporting Munich. So basically, yeah, I want France to attack Munich, or at least attack Marseille, and not use Burgundy in any defensive or hostile way towards me. France took a very long time to respond me, at least 12 hours, maybe more, and I was really worried, and I told that to Austria, that I was really worried about that, even though I didn't tell Austria that I was going to stab France. That's really worrying. France was kind of taking a long time to respond lately to messages, but this turn was very nerve-wracking, with France taking basically most of the turn without responding. In the end, France responded and said he agreed, he accepted my plan. I even asked again for confirmation. Are you sure you don't want to move differently? And he said, no, that's good. To Austria, I advised to cover Tunis. I said, just cover Tunis because Italy, I don't know if I would trust them in your shoes. And also, can you get Italy or Turkey to support you into Greece? He said that Turkey was supporting him into Greece and that he would talk to Italy, but he gave me the impression of not wanting to get back into Tunis because he trusted Italy, and I don't know if that's a good idea. He actually asked me for support into Spain because he said that the fleeting of Orléans has to support Marseille, and that means that an attack on Spain would work, and then he could have helped me get into Portugal and then win, probably. And that's not really true because Marseille doesn't need any support because Gascony has a fleet in it and not an army, so this fleet is definitely going to help in the defense of Spain. He said that Italy wasn't going to attack Tunis because the fleet in Gulf of Lyon was most likely going to attack Tyrrhenian Sea, and then Rome, Naples, so basically it was pretty worrying for Italy. But I don't know about that. I also can't support Austria anyway because I'm taking Brest. So I said no. I said you should, in my opinion, cover Tunis. I wouldn't trust Italy that much, but it's your choice. Yeah, so that was my 1907 autumn, a very intense year, probably the most intense. I was waiting for this year and for this season in particular. So let's see how my stab went. Yeah, so first of all, I took Berlin and Brest. So what would have been a brutal stab was actually a good stab, but not that great. But that must have been a shock. That must have felt bad for the poor French player who was so loyal until the end. And he actually did move as we agreed. So poor France, I'm sorry, but that was my best shot at this game, at winning this game. Yeah, and with that stab, I have basically misguided, stabbed, betrayed most of my allies. Basically, everyone I've ever allied with, I've stabbed at this point. I have stabbed Russia, Norway, Germany, France, and Spain, and to a certain extent, Italy. The only ones I didn't ever stab are Austria and Turkey because they're too far away, basically. So I would say that yeah, I was a pretty untrustworthy player in this game, but that's due to the nature of the variant. I think England has to act on multiple fronts with multiple neighbors, a lot more neighbors than usual, and he has to juggle a lot, having a lot of bombs in the air at all times, and that's what this game felt. Must have felt a little more straightforward for another great power like Russia. Yeah, so France, Germany, and Norway were my greatest stabs, emotionally or tactically or strategically, I guess. But even Russia and Spain were some sort of stabs by me. So yeah. Anyway, let's go on with my assessment of this turn. So. Not great, not great. I was really worried. I was really sad because Munich decided to support Ruhr and that ruined my stab completely. Italy in this game, in this particular season, decided to screw me over completely, which is a good move from him, but I was really disappointed. Italy did a couple of moves that were basically soul crushing for me. First of all, this one in Ruhr. So my stab only allowed me to take Berlin and Brest. And with Russia moving to Prussia, this means that Berlin cannot be kept because Berlin is surrounded by Munich, Silesia and Prussia, while can be defended only by Baltic Sea and Kiel, but France can cut Kiel and will most definitely do so in 1908, because why wouldn't he try to take revenge against me? And this means that Berlin is gonna fall, most likely going to the Italians. So I took Berlin for nothing. Ruhr is a pain in my butt at this point. Also, I lost in the Atlantic Ocean. It will take some effort to retake it. And at the same time, Austria decided for some reason to trust the Italians. He just held, he could have arranged a bounce or anything else. But apparently Austria was kind of suicidal, over trusting of Italy, and Italy, of course, with this other move, crippled my Janissary, basically ending my relationship with Austria, because at this point Austria has Greece and has this fleet. He has to destroy one of them, and yeah, because he probably trusts Turkey to defend him, he destroyed this fleet without, and I couldn't communicate with Austria in this phase. So I'm alone. I don't have the southern power to help me, and I honestly thought that at this point my shot at winning wasn't gone. I couldn't win at this point, losing Berlin. And even if I could take Ruhr, if Ruhr cut Kiel, at that point, it would be a guess, because Ruhr could be supported, or France could even take Belgium, probably, or take a shot at it. So it's a real mess. The stab was not successful in the way I wanted at all, but now it's time in 1908 to try every trick I know, every trick in the book, to try to avoid disaster, to try to keep this game in my hands, to gain this solo. No one said it was gonna be easy, and it definitely won't be. Now I have to talk with Russia, Italy, and France. I need to manipulate them. I need to draw one of them into my grasp, into my control, to try to win this game. Also, now it's clear that Italy and France are working together, supporting each other, and the Italian-French alliance was one of my fears, but an even worse fear was a Spanish-Italian alliance, and the Spanish-Italian and French alliance would be the end for my hopes of soloing this game. So this game is going to take a wild turn next year, in which I try with all my strength, all my diplomacy, to gain a win with my words when my forces, when my military can't help me with that. We'll see how that goes, and how I can avoid an Italian-French-Spanish alliance now that I have done so much to unbalance the power balance in this map in 1908. See you then.